Hello, Jesus people. Today I'm doing a God talk on love, on the love of God, and that the Bible is a love note to us from God. It's His Word, and to those that are perishing, it's definitely not a love note. But to those who are overcomers, this is God's love for the world. It says, no greater love has a man that he lays down his life for his friend. Okay, this is exactly what God did. God came down in flesh, in human form as Jesus Christ, and he laid down his life for us. He laid down his life for sinners so that we could go to heaven with him and reign and rule with him forever and come back in the millennium and reign and rule on earth for 1,000 years. And he's going to give us positions, and his position is going to be king. And we'll all get positions based on what we did on earth and the jobs we did for God and what our talents are, what our abilities are, and our love for God. He will put us in positions, just like if you had an army and you were a captain and you were in charge or you were the king, it would be your job to choose rank, order, and positions, and you would put people in specific areas based on their qualifications and what you knew about them and their talents, and God's going to do the same thing. Okay, we're created in His image. God is very similar in the way we talk, act, think, do. We create. He created. Okay, we think, we have an opinion, we have a personality, we have likes and dislikes. So does God. God created us. He created us in His image, even though His ways are higher than our ways and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. We're still created in the image of God and in His very likeness. It said He created them, man and woman, okay, in Genesis. And the angels are very similar, okay? They're very similar to man. In fact, the angels come down to earth, they ride horses. That talks about them. So angels are very similar to man. In Zechariah 1:10, a man stood among the myrtle trees and answered, these are they that the Lord has sent to walk to and fro through the earth. And they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro from the earth, and behold, all the earth is still and is at rest. So it was he saw a vision of by night a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood among the myrtle trees, and behind him there were red horses speckled and white. So God sends angels to ride horses throughout the earth. Okay, this is His army, and they ride, and they are His spies or reporters. These are angels that go out and do His decree and report to Him back on the findings of earth. And so angels are very, very similar to humans. In fact, they're so similar that it's possible that you don't even know the difference, because it says to be a good host, because you never know if you may have entertained an angel unaware. So angels and humans are very similar. Okay, so in Psalms 91:11, it says He will give His angels charge over you to keep you in all of your ways. It says the angels will bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread on the lion and the adder and the young lion and the dragon you shall trample under your feet, because He has set His love upon me, and therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name, which is Jesus Christ. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him, and I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. So God's will is that you have a long life, and that you work quietly with your hands, and that you show God in everything you say and do, because we submit all of our thoughts to the obedience of Christ. It says, do not fear, because God will be with you, and He will strengthen you, and He will help you, and He holds you with His right hand of His righteousness. The right hand is a representational position of power. God commands His love towards us. Even when we were sinners, He died for us. Before we were even saved, He died for us. God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whosoever will believe in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. See, this is a metaphor, because Jesus Christ is God, Just like you might be a father and a son. It's a positional, it's a representational position. God came down from heaven and became flesh and manifest, and he dwelt among us. And he was given for a sin offering, the only righteous person in the entire world. He's perfect because he's God. Because he's God and he created all things, and he's in all things and through all things because he's an invisible God of love. Okay, this is God's spirit of love. And he is the invisible God, yet he manifested and came down in the flesh and dwelt among us. That's what the word says. It says, was in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, and the word was made manifest among us. So that is Jesus Christ. So he came from the invisible world and came into the visible world and was manifest among us. And it says he came into the world, but the world knew him not. And so we didn't even recognize who he was, yet he still died for us because he loves us so much. It says, who shall separate us from the love of Jesus Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril? No, because we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. We need to understand what the love of God is. Okay, love, read Corinthians 13. Love is patient, kind, long-suffering. It believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, and it never fails. This is what love is. Love also has a disciplinary action in it. It says to remove the log from your own eye so you can see clearly, to remove the splinter from your brother's eye. So love has correction in it, just like a father, a good father or mother, parent would correct their child. They're not going to let him eat candy all day, even though that's what the child wants to do. When we're spiritual children, we're very similar, and God has to correct us. Okay, it says, don't get weary of the correction of the Lord. He only corrects who he loves. His back is to the wicked. He's not even looking at the wicked. If he's still correcting you, that means you still have hope that God is with you. It says he sets his face towards the righteous. Okay, and we're not righteous in ourselves. It's because of what he did for us on the cross. It says we have known and believed the love that God has sent to us. God is love, and he that dwells in love dwells in God, and God in him. That's 1 John 4:16, and then Ephesians 3:17, 19, that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, that you being rooted and grounded in love. Psalms 1:18, 16, the Lord is on my side, I will not fear. What can man do to me? Romans 8:31, what shall I say to all these things? If God is for me, who can be against me? Jeremiah 31:3, the Lord has appeared of old to me, saying, yea, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness I have drawn you. The word says that God is love, and we love because he first loved us. See, God first loved us. He was the example of love, and he laid his life down for us on the cross, so that we as sinners could be redeemed. Otherwise, we would never be redeemed. None of us would go to heaven without that redemption of Jesus Christ. So he had such a great love for us that he died for us. So we shouldn't get weary in suffering or in tribulation, because it says that if we suffer with him, we will also reign with him. This suffering is part of spiritual warfare, so we shouldn't get tired or weary of it. We know that he sees all things and knows exactly where we are. And Paul learned to be content wheresoever he found himself. He said he learned to abase or abound. You know, he was beaten, robbed, shipwrecked, deserted by false brethren. I mean, he had everything in the world happen to him physically. He was constantly in peril. And even on top of that, there was a messenger of Satan sent to buffet him because of his pride of knowing God so much. He was so close to God, he needed to have a check mark in him to not get proud. So even Paul had all kinds of tribulations, but he gloried in them, knowing that his suffering in the world was only temporary, and that the glory God was bringing to him was worth everything he went through. So he learned to be content. He said whether he abased or abound, he knew that God knew exactly where he was all the time. He had no doubt that God was with him all the time. He was so close to God. So part of us knowing God loves us is to get close to God, read the word, and get close to God's heart. It says we glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulation works patience. Jesus Christ was in great tribulation. I mean, he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. Psalms says it is good to be afflicted so I might know your decree. So we never need to worry about whether God knows where we're at or what we're going through. That's where trust comes in. We have complete peace in any circumstance, and we're never worried because we know that all things work together for good for those that love him and are called according to his purpose. So we have total trust that he knows exactly where we are and that we can learn, just like Paul, to abase or abound right where we are. The joy of the Lord is our strength, and so we're to guard our heart. In order to keep joy in our heart, we have to guard it. And because without happiness and joy, what else do you have? You have nothing. The joy is our adrenaline. It is the pure adrenaline of God, which is our energy. Okay, it's just like a car without gas. It's not going to have any energy to go. Well, that joy and adrenaline and excitement you feel every day, that's from God. We just don't recognize that's his spirit. Okay, that's God's spirit. We need to give him credit for it. And we're to guard our hearts and not let anybody or anything steal that from us. So love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Okay, that's the first commandment. Forget the rest. We can't love our neighbor until we love our God and that he gives us love. And then we're to love each other and have crushes on our boyfriends, husbands, and girlfriends and things. And we're never to let that go. If we let that go, that excitement of God, the newness of God, hey, what else do you have? You don't have anything. Okay, you have depression is what you have. That's why you see people depressed because they've given up on the vision and on the excitement of what is true reality in Jesus Christ's love. And talk to you guys later.